In this next class section, we're going to look at all of the output types available in your TriCaster system. All of these are available simultaneously, so you can use any combination of output as needed to get the type of content out of the system. The first we're going to look at is the live mix outputs. The live mix outputs are the primary way for you to get video out of your TriCaster to other downstream equipment. Now, depending upon your TriCaster system will determine which types of mix outputs are available. All TriCasters will have NDI mix outputs, but if you have a TriCaster system with SDI outputs, these will also be available as mix outputs as well. Now, these can be configured by going to the gear found on your TriCaster system in the program windows. So if we look at this monitor here, you'll see there's a gear in the right corner. We'll click on this and this will open up our output configuration panel. The first tab, output, allows us to configure the mix outputs. You'll see a number of mix outputs listed. This system has 4, but some systems may have more or less depending upon your TriCaster model. Each mix output is available as NDI and potentially as SDI if your system has it, and they're going to be the same. So mix 1 for SDI and mix 1 for NDI are going to be the same video and audio. If we're looking at SDI, these will follow the same numbering order as your SDI output. So SDI output 1 will be the same as mix 1 and 2 will go to 2. On the NDI network, we will see these names listed, so you'll be able to pick them directly by name. Now, each mix output can have its own video, audio, and format configured for it. We can see on my system here, all of the video is set up as program. And then we can see the audio. I've changed this one to aux, but they do all default to master to begin with. And then we can see our format listed here. They're all currently at session. We can click these drop downs to change whatever video, audio, and format we want coming out with that mix output. So under the video column, we can choose things like program, program clean, which will be the same thing as the program feed, but with no downstream keyers on top. So if you want to have only the switching, but none of the layered content placed on top of your output, that would be considered a clean feed. That could be very useful for recording when we look at that later, because that will give you the ability to edit a program easier, not having to work around the titles that might have been included in the program. We can put our preview channel on an output, or we can direct any input to an output. So for example, maybe you have an onset display and you would like a media player like a DDR or a graphics player to feed that onset display. We could route the output of a DDR or graphics player out one of the NDI or SDI outputs found on our TriCaster system. Let's set this one to clean feed. Audio can be set to any of our audio outputs. This could be master or any of our auxes or any input coming into the system. So if you're doing multiple languages or you need different recordings with different audio configurations, we can select that from here. And then format will allow us to either output in the native session resolution format, or we can cross or down convert to a different format. So if I click on here, we can see the different options available. Now, what options you'll see do depend upon what your session format is, and then you'll get a selection of options available from there. But for example, in this, we can choose an SD format, for example, if I wanted to do an HD and generate an SD version of this program simultaneously. So we can set up all 4 of these, and then they're active, they're ready to go. So let's take a look at these outputs on the NDI network on another system. So here we are on another system running NDI Studio Monitor. I want to select one of the NDI outputs from my TriCaster. I'll just click on the button up here in the corner. Here are all of the NDI channels on my network. This system here happens to be my TriCaster system, and there you can see mix 1 through mix 4. So if I pick mix 1, We can see there's our video. Let's in fact bring our title on, and you can see that on the screen, and we can do transitions in here if we wanted to. And of course, if I wanted this full screen, I can make that happen as well. We also have a clean feed set up. Let's just take a look at that channel. If I click on here again, that was on mix 2. And you can see that the clean feed is exactly the same video as before, but with no overlay, no downstream keyers turned on, which in this case happened to be the title. So that is what the second output is set to. So as you can see, there's a lot of possibilities for setting up multiple outputs from your TriCaster system to feed downstream live devices.